Right, today we've got a Volkswagen Golf Mk6. It's a 2009 model, so 13 years old, and it's got just over 124,000 miles on the clock. So today we're going to do an oil and filter change. It's one of the things that it's a good idea to have done at least once a year. First thing you want to do is to remove this panel, which literally just pulls off. It's only held on by these rubber grommets that locate over a ball, just like a ball and socket. Let's put that to one side. Now I always pull the dipstick out a little bit. You can take the filler cap off. So when we get underneath and take the sump plug out, it allows the air into the engine and it flows out a bit easier. You can see the oil filter on this particular engine is down here. It's got a nut-shaped top there. So I will have to remove a bracket up here to access it, which is literally just one Torx screw there. You undo the top of the cover there and the paper element is inside. Okay, so under the car, it's got a belly pan on it, a plastic shield, which we're going to need to remove. Unfortunately, some of these screws, they do have a habit of breaking. You can see one has broken there at some point in its life. So we'll give it a go and hopefully they'll all come out okay. I'm using a gun, but of course you can use a ratchet. Just do this for speed really. Now it's got Torx drive there, Torx 30, and they look like Torx 20s, two different sizes. Hopefully this is the last one. There we go, one under shield off. Okay, so here's the sump, which is covered in this insulating material, and there's the sump bung which we need to remove. That is a 19mm on this model. I'll try and use a socket because it's a single hex, you've got less chance of slipping, although it shouldn't be too tight. I'm going to crack that loose, that's it. Then I've got my oil drainer here. Now this is quite cold, so it's not going to come squirting out at pressure. Oh, that's got a bit tight in it. But if you're doing this on a hot engine, just get ready to catch the oil and make sure you stand back at arm's length because it does come out pretty fast. These are aluminium sumps, and I have had these in the past where people have over tightened the sump plug. They can start to chew up the thread. Right, here we go. Hold that up. Good job I've got gloves on. There we go. I'll just let that drain down for a few minutes. Okay, so it's been sat here draining for some time now. It's gone from a slow trickle to a slow drip. That could be going all night. You've got pretty much everything out of there that we need to. So I'm going to put the sump plug back in at this point. So that's started by hand. It does get a little bit tight, but there we go. Some of these sump plugs have collapsible copper washers on them. This one's just got a standard washer on there, which is fine to reuse. That's it, that's tight enough. You don't need to go overly mad with these. Like I said before, they can be stripped fairly easily. I'll just give that a wipe off. And then we're good to put the under tray back on. Right, under tray back on. This can sometimes be a bit of a wriggle if you're working by yourself. There it goes. Okay, next we'll drop the car down to the floor and tackle the oil filter. Particular engine, as I said, is tucked down here. They're not always this difficult to get at. Sometimes they are worse, but majority of the time they're not too bad. So I'm going to undo this Torx 30 bolt. Now I can wriggle this bracket out. This pipe can stay where it is. That's better. Give me a bit more clearance to get on there. I believe that's a, is that a 32? Yeah, 32mm. Right, so hopefully I can access it without a universal joint. Let's crack that loose. Now these do tend to drip when you take them out, and they're a little bit of a wriggle to get past the pipe, but they do go. There we go. One filter. I'll put this in the vise and remove that and the O-ring. Okay, so I'll just put it in the vise because it's nice to have that holding the housing still. Just pull the filter off. It's got some plastic legs there which clip over underneath, as you can see with the new filter. Leave that there a minute. And there's a rubber O-ring seal which comes with the filter. Well worth changing. So there we go. I'll take this off and put it on the oil drainer. Now we've got the new seal, which I'll stretch over, which sits in the groove. And the new oil filter, these barbs, you just push it on and it clicks in. That's it, there we go. Then I can refit it to the car. Okay, so we've got a little bit of spilt oil down here, which is pretty much unavoidable. Just wipe off what you can. The new filter, try and wriggle it back in here. There it goes, straight in. Now, these don't have to be done up very tight. In fact, that one does say 25 Newton meters, which if you've got a torque wrench, great. Otherwise, just nip it up. Don't go mad with it because it is only plastic. That's it. I'll give that a wipe off again. Now we need to refit this bracket. There we go. Next I'll measure out some oil and top it up. Okay, so I've got a jug here which I'm going to measure the oil out into. I know this engine holds roughly 4.3 litres, so I'm going to put 4 litres in to start with. Right, okay. It's handy to have a funnel. I made this one just out of a plastic bottle. As I said previously, make sure you pull the dipstick out a bit. It does help to let the oil in and let the air out. Sometimes these are quite slow fillers, so keep an eye around the filler neck because they can glug. But if you pull the dipstick out, that helps prevent that. Okay, so that's 4 litres in there. I'm going to start the car up, let it run for a little while, and then we'll dip the oil. Okay, so I've started the car up. I've just let it tick over for a few minutes. Don't need to rev it up. Obviously make sure the oil pressure light goes out when you first fire it up. Switch it off, let it stand for a few minutes and check the oil level. We're on a nice level bit of ground here on the ramp. There we go. As you can see, that is just below the maximum mark. I'll leave it a few more minutes and check again. There's a good chance that will be okay there. Okay, so it's sat for a few minutes. Now on this dipstick, it's got a couple of little keyways each side. You need to make sure they locate and push it fully home. There it goes. There we go. That's spot on there. So we'll put this back in, put the cover back on. and we're done.